Hey guys, I'm packing up the car because I've got another track day down at Laguna Seca, and I'm really excited for this one because I'm trying new brake pads on the GT4 that probably not many Porsche people have been testing out yet, so I'm excited to find out and give you my feedback. Previous videos, I shared with you the new two-piece slotted rotors from Paragon Performance. They previously didn't make brakes for Porsches, and now they are. And so I had a chance to test these out thanks to Paragon Performance. A two-piece slotted design is nice because it can be cost-saving when you replace them. You only need to replace the rings, and a two-piece setup is also better for heat management. I only tested the rotors at Sonoma Raceway, and I've been driving on them for a couple thousand miles. No issues whatsoever. But I was previously running advanced friction performance pads. That's just the pads I already had on the car. But then Paragon said, hey, I think you should try the whole package. So they sent me a set of their R5 pads. These pads are their second most aggressive. They have 4 compounds available. And these are supposed to be similar to, say, like the Ferodo DS2500s. Spoiler alert, these are way cheaper than the Ferodos. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform. Installing these pads isn't much different than other pads. I have videos, of course, showing you tips and tricks on installing brake pads on the GT4 as well as the 991 GT3 and possibly other Porsche setups. So check out that link up here for some of those. And of course, I showed you how to install these Paragon rotors. One thing different about these pads though is there's no room for brake pad sensors. Now most track people don't really care about brake pad sensors, so what do you do about that? You can either, if they're in good shape, just fold them back like I did and then secure them to the suspension out of the way. Make sure you think about how the suspension turns and compresses. Or you can clip the wire. There's 2 wires inside, splice them together, electrical tape them, whatever you want to do, and again, mount them up and away from the suspension. You won't have any errors then, no messages on the dash, and when it's time to put in brake sensors, they come as a full cable with a connector, so there's no permanent destruction happening here. So far on the street, they've performed fine, as expected, pretty much like the last pads I had from Advanced Friction. Not very good bite on the cold, so the first few stops out of the garage, I gotta, press the pedal a little more, very common. And as far as squeaking goes, not nearly as much squeaking as some pads I've heard, especially like the Ferodo 3.12s. Those are really squeaky. So pretty good so far. Normal driving, no issues. And on the back roads, I've pushed it a little bit, and you can, when they come up to temps, you can definitely feel the friction of these pads, so to say. And I'm hoping that I'll get pretty good feedback from the car at the track. I've actually tested these at Laguna, but it was in the wet, so I didn't really get some good feedback on the brakes, but they did fine in the wet, just so you know. So I'm gonna finish packing up the car, and we'll fast forward over to Laguna for an awesome track day. Let's go. All right, we're down here at Laguna Seca, home of the Corkscrew. This event is hosted by Lightspeed Track Events, and the event is also sponsored by Paragon Performance. And this video, for the brakes, is also sponsored by Paragon. They gave away a $200 Paragon gift card to one of the attendees. So thanks so much, Paragon. Really appreciate you supporting us at these HPDE events. So we got the brakes on there. I'm really looking forward to how it performs here at Laguna. The biggest places where there's some serious braking is coming off of turn 1 down the hill, 120 miles an hour, slowing about 40. It's a lot of braking needed and a lot of heat there. Also going into the Corkscrew, I tend to use up a lot of brake there, so it'll be interesting how it goes. Let's go have some fun at Laguna Seca. Wow, what an amazing track day at Laguna Seca. I had a total blast. The weather was great, the people were great. I had my Porsche buddies there, some of my Cadillac buddies there, my wife, very supportive at the track, always helping out. Lightspeed put on a great event, and the advanced group was all pretty much on pace. It was hard to find any good opportunities to pass or be passed. We were all probably within a second of our times. And I was able to set some new personal bests. That's always great, getting through my last optimal time and now setting a new optimal time in the 136s, which is getting close to that Randy Pope's time that I'm trying to hit at Laguna Seca. And I did my first ever time trial, which I've never really done. There's only 3 of us, but I did take first. That was kind of cool. But good lap times at the track don't always depend on your driving and your car's acceleration and handling. Also depends on your brakes, right? How much did our Paragon brakes contribute today? I'm not sure, but I looked at the graphs and I was hoping to see some steeper braking charts to show that I could brake faster with this, and then I remembered, you know what? All the brakes are going to do a great job there. What is the limit of how quickly you can brake is the traction of the tires, so remember that. But what I did see is more consistent braking, smoother braking lines. I can more easily find that ABS and then back it off so I'm not on the ABS for more controlled braking. And I have to say, you guys, these pads did not let me down one bit. No fade, lots of consistency, plenty of bite. I really loved them. And the only time I ever overran my entry to a corner is because I tried to wait a couple more moments to see if I could pick up a couple more miles per hour and then still stop. And that led me a couple times going past my apex, but that's how we learn. That's how we figure out how we can be faster. It was a good time. However, stopping and how it feels is not the only elements of having a good brake pads and rotors. You also want to know how are they going to wear over the lifetime, right? You've got a consumable here to work with, and you want to know that that at least they're going to last a certain amount of time for their money. Now that I can't answer quite yet, but I will get back to you as the next season goes on, sometime next year. You know, these pads, they may disappear quickly, or they may go slow, which would be great, or they may chew up my rotors. I don't know. Those things we can't answer yet. But for now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to replace with these pads as far as I can tell, because the price of these pads for the performance, incredible. For Roto who? No. These pads absolutely meet my expectations. And it's not a luxury item. You don't need to go pay a bunch of money for a name or something, because it's not something you're trying to keep clean and perfect forever. These are consumables like your tires. You buy them for performance. And because consumables cost a lot of money over time, every dollar counts. And I think that's important, at least for me. And my poor man's Porsche, right? GT3 RS owners, you go ahead and spend lots of money. I don't care. But I'm having a ton of fun, and I absolutely love these brakes. I'm so thankful for Paragon for giving me the opportunity to try them, and I don't see a reason to switch right now. Also, I was running endless brake fluid. That stuff performed, no boiling there. But that stuff's expensive as fluid. I'm not sure I'm gonna do that again, but I had to pick it up in a jam. But it works great. I wouldn't hesitate to buy it if you wanna pay the price. So if you're interested in getting some Paragon brakes on your Porsche, you can find them at paragonbrakes.com. You can get those 2-piece slotted rotors, which are about OEM disc price, plus when you have to replace them, you only need to replace the rings. A little more labor, of course, swapping those out, but no big deal. They have those 4 compounds of pads to choose from. Maybe you need their most intense track pads, or maybe you just want something a little more streetable. Everyone asks about dust when it comes to brake pads. Any track pad is gonna dust. That is the life. If you don't wanna go to the track, then you can have fairly dustless pads with some ceramic compounds and then whatnot. I don't know the dust levels. I haven't tested Paragon's more streetable pads, but just keep that in mind. There is no good track pad that doesn't dust, and no good street pad that is good for the track without dust. So anyway, she's pretty battle scarred. I'm gonna have to give her a nice wash. Hit the like button, please, if you like this video, and consider subscribing and hitting the bell to be notified of future Porsche content. Stay fast, stay safe. We'll see you next time.